Got your pens and paper ready? Hopefully maybe something I'll say will find its way onto your paper. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let us please be a little bit more appreciative to being able to experience this day. As we greet one another, let us invest something, because if we hope to get anything out of this moment, we have to be willing to put something into it. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
A little bit better. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Joseph, Patrick, folks who all put this together. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here with y'all and to talk about something that's pretty important. When asked to be on this panel, I was thinking about the way I interpret it was almost like the state of the black man in today's society, and how it seems as if people of color are being judged just because of their color. And I was thinking about one of the most important things any of us could learn, and one thing that Dr. Lafayette and the Civil Rights Movement taught us is that we need to suspend our first judgments. You can write that down. Suspend our first judgments, because the media will tell us one thing, but our personal experience, meeting with people, sitting down with folks, listening to each other's music, sharing each other's food, that's when we get to know people. Like the picture that's been painted about the people in Ferguson has been one of outrage, violence, and aggression. But my experience hasn't been such. It has been one of compassion and curiosity of trying to find a solution to a conflict that's been going on for quite a long time. And I like you, well, I guess you're here maybe just to get credit, but hopefully it's to be inspired and to learn. And as a college student, that was my goal. And I was fortunate enough to meet the gentleman at the end of the table over there, Dr. Bernard Lafayette, as a junior at the University of Rhode Island. And through learning about accurate information about the movement, accurate information about Dr. King's philosophy, which he has his own philosophy called Kingian nonviolence. Not all nonviolence is the same, nor is the implementation of it. But learning this type of philosophy and learning from the civil rights workers or examples can help us prevent a Ferguson from happening again. But that's up to each and every one of us. How often do we judge other people? How often are we just happy that it's not one of our friends? Think about that. Because Dr. King's calling for us all, his life example was one of caring about every human being regardless of the amount of melanin or money you had in your pocket. And that's what we need to do today, because the stereotypes that are being shared with us kind of create a divide, don't they? Kind of create us versus them. But what's going on in Ferguson, and Dr. King said it before, he probably said it, he definitely did say it better than I would, so I'll quote him. What affects one of us directly affects all of us indirectly. And if we ignore what's happening right there in Ferguson, like we've ignored other things, it's bound to happen again. It's bound to happen again, right here in Seattle. Y'all are very familiar with violence. One of your schools recently experienced gun violence. And the information that we can learn from the civil rights movement of how to transform our conflicts could have helped that young gentleman. Could have helped, I think there's been over 70 school shootings in our country since Sandy Hook? We need to get this type of stuff into the curriculum. All y'all are going to school to learn something, right? And they make sure you take certain classes to learn that particular thing. And you'll be good at it if you learn that stuff, right? How often or how many times have we learned or studied how to transform or manage conflict? If our kids were learning that type of information at a very young age, like Dr. Lafayette did, and how Dr. Lafayette made sure other people do, our world could be different. But it can only be different if we're willing to do different. So the lessons of the past, we'll bring some of them into today, but not everything. As I spoke to a group of teenagers, or not barely teenagers, last night at the Boys and Girls Club, I told them it's our charge to be the P. Diddy of today's movement. Y'all know what I mean by that? P. Diddy found some old tracks, remixed it, threw a hook on it, till we couldn't live without it. It's our responsibility, like Dr. Lafayette and the SNCC workers, remixed nonviolence in a way that it fit that particular context, so it brought about some type of change. And that's our charge today, is to find a way. One last thing, I had a boss, her name is Malia Lazu, and she said that it's unfortunate that organizers and leaders criticize our community because they don't want to get down. And what she said to me it just made me think. When Nike creates a product, right, and they put it out in the market and nobody buys it, does Nike blame the consumer for not purchasing it? Or do they take it back, remix it, repackage it, reframe it until the community can't live without it? And that's our charge. That's our charge. And I only stand here because somebody believed in me, real quick. And could we give a round of applause for Dr. Bernard Lafayette down there? Because he does not get enough. And also his wonderful wife over here, who has supported and loved me through this process. Thank you very much. I hope some of my words found its way to your paper. Thank you for this time.